All right, so today we are back with our Spurs versus Timberwolves series recap, as well as previewing Game 1. Let's get into it. So, the Spurs Timberwolves series is now over. I predicted that the Spurs would win in 6, and they did win in 6. Games 5 and 6, I felt like the Spurs just wanted it more. It felt like a heart thing. It felt like they came out and they wanted to go to the conference finals. They wanted to win. They wanted to sit in the defensive stance. They wanted to communicate on defense. They wanted to move the ball. They wanted to get everybody involved. They were high-fiving each other. They were hitting one more. It's just things of that nature that shows you that they are a team, not just Wemby and them or De'Aaron Fox and them. It's a team with them, and they all want to see each other succeed, and they want to succeed, and it showed. So I think Mitch Johnson also outcoached Chris Finch. Minnesota came out flat like way too often in this series, where they just kind of came out lackluster, not ready to play. And to me, as a coach, that is on coaching. Like you have to have your players ready to go, whether it's knowing the game plan, having energy, playing hard, all those type of things. That's on coaching. And so I think that whereas Mitch Johnson did an outstanding job making sure that his guys are ready to go, Chris Finch didn't. And I also didn't see very many adjustments from Chris Finch. And I already felt like coming in, he was on the hot seat. I feel like Minnesota's kind of reached their ceiling with him. I don't think that he puts them over the top. I think second round of conference finals is kind of like your ceiling with Chris Finch. And it all comes from, one, having your players ready to go, and then two, in-game adjustments, right? Round one, the Nuggets were down Aaron Gordon. They were down some players. And also the Nuggets were awful on the defensive end. So he was just able to let his talent overwhelm the different Nuggets. Whereas here with a team that's like talented or more talented, you couldn't just let your talent go be great. You have to build a system, build things, implement game plans to be able to go and beat slightly better teams. And I don't think he did a good job at that. I think the Wolves settled too much throughout this series. I think they played too much hero ball. I think there was a lot of different things that could have been adjusted that weren't. And I know Anthony Edwards wasn't fully healthy, and he gave you some great games. As a scorer, he's a 3-level guy. You can't really stop him unless you double team him, which you saw the Spurs do a lot. The Spurs would double team him off pick and rolls. They would box and one him, letting Minnesota's players play 4-on-4, and you just see everybody just attacking their man because it's a lot of space, and the Spurs are okay with that. They were okay with living with that because they knew you're not gonna go to the rim. You're gonna settle. You won't attack the basket. So I think that part of just making sure your guys are ready, that's on Finch. And players wise, I think Anthony Edwards, I think he has to become a better playmaker. So when teams try to take him out by doubling him or boxing one of him, he can still make plays for others. I think that's the next step of in the evolution of his game, is being able to play make for others. Because once they took him out, Minnesota just looked really out of sorts, which is crazy because he didn't play very much in the Denver series. But Julius Randle, I don't think Julius Randle is a winning player. I saw too much of he's guarding his guy, but the ball is coming his way. He won't stop the ball. I saw just a lack of effort on the defensive end in general. He wasn't really scoring. He wasn't giving you much, and I just don't think you can win with Julius Randle as your second or even third option. Is inconsistent, and it didn't show. He didn't show like a will to win, which that's off-putting for me because you want your players to want to win. And I understand these players are making millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, and maybe that kind of fire can die inside, but when it's heat of the moment, battle to battle, gladiators are going at it, you want to see who has that heart and who doesn't. And that's why TJ Shannon really impressed me this series. I loved how he came out and he competed every single play, whether he messed up or whether he made a good play. He held his head high and he was going to compete. He was going to give all that he had on every single possession. I loved that. And while going forward, I think Minnesota should build around, obviously, Anthony Edwards. I think TJ Shannon should stay. I think they have to choose between Gobert and Jaden McDaniels. And me personally, I think you have to go with McDaniels. Not saying Gobert's a bad player, but he's very matchup dependent when it comes to these playoffs. And his lack of offensive game kind of hinders the Wolves in a sense. Don't get me wrong, he's a great defender, but I think you have to choose between Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert. I think Julius Randle has to go regardless of what happens. I don't think, in order for the Timberwolves to win, I don't think Julius Randle can be on the team. On the Spurs side of things, De'Aaron Fox in Game 6 came out firing. Him and Stephon Castle. If Stephon Castle is hitting that three, the Spurs become really, really hard to go out on that offensive end. That makes it really hard. I thought De'Aaron Fox did a great way of leading them into Minnesota, being that playoff vet that they have, and saying like, let's settle in, let's get to it, let's take it at them, let's not let them bring it at us. So I thought De'Aaron Fox did a really great job. Obviously, Wemby did his thing. He's Wemby. I mean, he's 7'5". He's agile. He's quick. I think the most underrated part of his game is his coordination. Most people that tall aren't that coordinated where he can be here, tap the ball in while barely getting a glimpse out of the basket. That's just supreme coordination for a genetic freak. Stephon Castle, 32. I think he had in Game 6 he was knocking down threes. And that is the one thing that kind of holds him back from being in that next tier of player is his outside jump shot. And if he can make that consistent along with the defense, I feel like he's an underrated playmaker. Obviously, he's very athletic as a slasher, but if he can bring that into his game, I think the Spurs are going to have some decisions to make. And then along with Dylan Harper and Carter Bryant, both of them being rookies, being able to contribute on the offensive and defensive end, what the Spurs are building is great. So I wasn't surprised that they won in 6. I predicted them to win in 6, but I didn't predict Minnesota would lay down like that. I thought they would go out fighting, go out swinging. They didn't. I think they got some things to talk about in the offseason and what direction they want to go. So, moving to the Spurs Thunder preview, I think it's a series that is going to go 7. I think that Wemby creates a different type of matchup for the Thunder, obviously, that they don't see anywhere else. I think his length bothers the role players, which the Thunder have one great, right? Shea. And then they have some good players and some really good role players. Now, Shea is going to get his. Shea's going to do what he does. I think that's a given. But what Wemby does bother is the timing of people like AJ Mitchell, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort. I think he can bother the timing of Jalen Williams. All of those things, those little slight timing is the difference between a make shot and a miss shot, a good pass and a turnover. All those little things are gonna matter. I think they're gonna start with Stephon Castle guarding Shea. I think Carter Bryant is gonna get some Shea minutes. I think Champagnie will get some Shea minutes. Maybe Keldon Johnson. The best thing that I think they can do is contain him. I think they shouldn't put their whole thing on stopping them. I think this is one of those series where you need to freeze out the role players. You don't want to let Jalen Williams and AJ Mitchell and Alex Caruso and Casey Wallace and all those guys get off, because if everybody is rolling, it's just gonna be like a boulder coming downhill. There's nothing you're gonna be able to do to stop it. So I think it's a kind of contain Shea and let Shea be Shea, but not let these other guys get off. And then on the flip side, I think it's gonna be the Spurs. I think De'Aaron Fox is their X factor. If De'Aaron Fox is playing well, that is what lets the Spurs compete with the Thunder. I think Wemby's gonna have to be Wemby. Obviously, I think he's gonna have to, average 4 blocks and 10 rebounds and probably 26, 27 points. I think Dylan Harper, I think he's ready. I think him coming off the bench, I think he's going to give you 10 to 14 points a night, and he's also going to give you defense and playmaking. If he can limit his turnovers, that's going to be a big plus. Stephon Castle is going to be very dependent on this series. He's going to have to guard Shea and make his life as hard as possible, whether it's picking him up full court, making him settle for a lot of threes. You don't want to let him get into his mid-range, because I think he shoots like 55% or something crazy. Like Shea is shooting crazy this season from the mid-range. So Stephon Castle is going to be big in this series. I think what it comes down to is when we get to around game 4, game 5 is what coach figures out. It's like chess. So what coach figures out a move quicker. I think that's going to be a big thing. I think the Spurs are going to have to make, I think they can't let Wemby beat them. I think they're going to have to make De'Aaron Fox beat them and show them that he can. I think they have to contain Wemby on the offensive end, whether it's when he catches in the mid-post, making sure he sees bodies, or tagging him and staying with him on the roll, not letting him get easy lobs and easy and ones. I think that's the big part of the Spurs, the Thunder, but they should just play their game. I think if they play their game, the Thunder, obviously, I think they're the best team in the league. So if they play their game, they can compete with anybody. And I think it's going to make sure that they keep ball movement a part of their game, and they're just constantly attacking with all the guys that they have to wear the Spurs down. So, like I said, I think this series goes 7. I think it's going to be a great chess match. I'm interested to see what Jalen Williams looks like coming off an injury. I'm interested to see who the Spurs have Wemby guarding, who the Thunder have Chet guarding, if they guard each other, or if they want them kind of off each other to be able to help whoever is guarding. That's going to be interesting to see. But I'm excited for this series. I think it's going to be a great series. I think we're going to get an all-time classic. Shea, we just got word that he won MVP again, so he's a 2-time back-to-back MVP. We haven't had a back-to-back MVP since, was it Steph? It was either Steph or Giannis. But, so he's, he has a lot for his legacy on the table, and I'm not really one of those people that likes talking about legacy. I just like to talk the actual breakdown of the game, but he could do something that hasn't really been done in a while. So you have Shea coming off of that. I'm interested to see how AJ Mitchell plays in this series, and I'm also interested to see what the Spurs try to throw at Shea. So that's my take on this series. I'm excited to see it unfold. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I really want to know what y'all think, and I want to have a conversation about that. So make sure y'all follow me on all socials. Thank you for watching. I appreciate y'all. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back.